Chael Sonnen has just claimed he's officially boxing Jorge Masvidal in October.
We're just letting all the secrets out. I got this thing coming up with Jorge Masvidal in October of this year.
And it turns out that despite being from different generations, these two fighters have a heated rivalry.
If I was to see him right now, I'd slap the fuck out of him and be like, what's up, you know? What the fuck is the problem? You know?
If you guys were to discuss this with me out of the room, you were aware I would whip Jorge Masvidal.
But not that long ago, both Chael and Jorge were civil, in fact. They were fans of each other. So just how did Chael Sonnen and Jorge Masvidal go from borderline friends to bitter enemies on the verge of fighting? When it came to their fighting careers, Sonnen and Masvidal never really crossed paths. Chael left the UFC in 2013, the same year that Masvidal joined the promotion. They don't really have any mutual opponents, and the only fight cards they both fought on together were a pair of Bodog shows all the way back in 2006. Aside from those events all those years ago, the two weren't particularly familiar with each other. But with both Sonnen and Masvidal being some of the most outspoken fighters in MMA history, they of course have discussed one another, yet it tended to be exclusively positive.
All the way to backyard stuff that I watched on YouTube. But if Masvidal has competed, I have seen it. I will continue to say, I'm a fan.
I like it though because Chael is the type of guy that will go back and apologize. So when I fucking murder Kobe, he has to be like, holy shit, this guy deserves a title fight and blah, blah, blah. I personally like Chael. A little bothered by that comment, but it's kind of like it just sets up the fucking mountain to be a lot higher. You know, when I climb in and Chael's like, I can't believe you climbed that mountain, I'm gonna be like, I told you, bitch, you know?
With his YouTube channel, Chael is always discussing the hottest topics in MMA, and in 2019, Masvidal was one of the biggest stars in the entire sport. He knocked out Darren Till in London, had the flying knee victory over Ben Askren, and won the BMF title against Nate Diaz, all in a calendar year.
A successful promotion of an event, you know, it's this big melting pot of different things. You know, Fight Island was a massive star in this thing. Masvidal was a massive star.
And Chael was actually rooting for Masvidal's success back then.
And Masvidal is one of these guys I'm very proud of. And proud, he's a grown man, I'm a grown, we're friends. It's kind of weird to say you're proud of a guy, but I don't know a different word.
But despite everything being friendly between the two, that didn't last forever. And the first catalyst of their rivalry came in January 2022, when Chael picked Colby Covington in his bitter grudge match against Masvidal.
Colby Covington's gonna get his ass kicked, for sure. Jorge Masvidal is gonna beat his ass. Colby's gonna beat George's ass even worse. That's what I'm picking. I don't believe that Masvidal wins a round, but I believe Masvidal is competitive in every single round.
Considering Chael is born and bred in Oregon State, and that's where Colby wrestled, it makes sense Chael sided with his hometown fighter.
Can I ask you about Colby Covington? A lot of people have been bringing you up when talking about Colby Covington. What is your take on Colby Covington?
I love him. I've known him since he was 11 years old. He grew up 2 hours from my front door. He's been a rough guy his whole life. He's been wanting to get into the UFC, you know, since he was in high school and college. He had his dream on this. He had his eyes set. Here he is. And boom, he's going to get some notice. What the hell's wrong with that?
And while Masvidal, of course, didn't appreciate Chael's comments, he still respected him. There wasn't any drama between the two yet. In the months that passed, nothing really occurred between Masvidal and Sonnen. Chael continued making his YouTube videos, some of which about Jorge and his career, but that was about it. So how did the mutual respect between these two fighters turn so sour? It all started on a heated episode of the MMA Hour in November 2023. Sonnen and Ariel Helwani got into a shouting match about whether more fighters should follow Francis Ngannou's footsteps into exploring free agency.
The money he's about to make is going to laugh in the face of everyone in the UFC other than Conor because he gets to play by a different set of rules. So you can dance around everything you want, but next time, do me a favor, Chael. Don't fucking be a don't be a fucking coward and dance around this shit. Say it to my face. Say it to my face like a man, because that's how I know you. Say it to my face and say, no, Ariel, you have a vendetta, you have a bias against the UFC, and that's why you're doing this. Say it to my face. Grow a fucking pair. And I'll say to you, you have a bias and a vendetta against Francis, and you're a company man, and you work for ESPN, and you don't want to upset Big Bad Dana because he's done some really nice things to you over the years. So you have your bias, I have mine. Okay,
The
Chael.
only reason you're talking
You wanna
about
keep
a fight,
lying?
Ariel, you keep cutting me off.
Because you're
I
lying.
don't really understand
Chael,
why
you're
you do that.
lying. You are lying.
About what?
I
You
did
dumb son.
celebrate.
I would strangle
I
you
did.
if I was
Do
there.
it.
You come and talk to
Come.
me mouthy like this,
Do
you
it.
little
Do it. Do
Ariel.
it. This is like a scene out of your
Say that
movie,
it's a lie
Mojob Diamonds.
because I'm saying you didn't do something.
I
if
did
it
it.
turned out you did, by the way, it would make me wrong. It
Yes.
would mean that your buddies got it wrong. It wouldn't make
Well,
it a
you're
lie.
saying-
Even though that argument didn't involve Jorge Masvidal at all, Gamebred clearly saw it, because the following week, he shared his 2 cents and decided to defend Ariel.
Yo, I see you beefing with everybody, man. What's going on?
No,
cuz?
we're good.
Everybody wants you now, huh?
Listen, you come at the king, you best
Yeah,
not miss.
Damn right. And look, anyways, Chael's a bitch. I mean, he knows it himself.
Oh.
That's the dirtiest fighter that ever lived. He got popped with like 9 substances, still
God.
couldn't
No,
win
we're
the title.
friends now.
You
We're
know
friends.
that guy's sore.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
we're
but
friends.
still,
We're
he's a
friends.
fucking, he's a punk.
You
He's a
think I
punk,
won
dog.
that
He's
debate,
tough.
right? You think I won that debate?
Yeah, you definitely won that debate.
Thanks,
and
Jorge.
you know,
Appreciate
you can tell you won it. You can tell you won it when the fighter's like, "I'm gonna attack you," well, because you can't win with your
Sure.
mouthpiece. So now you gotta resort to violence. Tell that old steroid using motherfucker, come use the violence on me, bro. Tell him talk like that, bro. You're such a reporter, bro.
I appreciate it.
Fucking puss.
Thank you for your support, Jorge.
Fake ass gangster from what the fuck? What is he a gangster for? For fucking tax fraud and shit like that?
Oh,
Shut the
no,
fuck
no,
up.
we can, no, this is not.
Fuck this idiot, bro. Fuck this idiot.
Although Masvidal is certain he would put Chael to sleep if he came at him the same way, what assures a quality night of sleep for you is the Manta Sleep Mask. Manta Sleep Mask's exceptional design creates a whole new meaning of comfort and relaxation during sleep. Enjoy the bliss of near-zero pressure on your eyes, allowing you to relax fully and calm the barrage of thoughts. Choose from a variety of masks, including those designed with gentle pressure for relaxation, cooling masks to soothe tired eyes, and even masks with Bluetooth speakers so you can enjoy music or meditation as you drift off. Check out Manta Sleep Mask by using the link in the description, and make sure to use code MARK10 for 10% off your order. Thank you, Manta Sleep, for sponsoring this video. And after hearing those strong words said about him, Chael Sonnen retaliated big time. In classic Chael fashion, the American gangster took to Twitter and unleashed a barrage of messages aimed at Masvidal. 20 tweets to be precise. He made digs about Masvidal once being in prison, his knockout loss to Kamaru Usman, and so much more. And of course, Uncle Chael took it to his YouTube channel as well.
So George Masvidal goes on Ariel's show yesterday, and he says terrible things about me. He talked about I used to rob banks. He talks about I did steroids. He talks about I did steroids and still didn't win a championship. Now, I'm not saying that George lied about me. I did all of those things. But you would understand, it's the truth that hurts, right? You would deal with that from your detractors. You would deal with that from what's called your haters. You would not deal with that from your friend, who you've known for 17 years. So this very much catches me off guard. I'm very confused, but it's not as though I'm gonna let that ride. So I fire back some corny stuff at Masvidal, right? Like, oh, you say you want to fight. Let me get this clear though. Are you gonna be kicking me with the leg that has the ankle monitor? Or hey, in between, are prison officials gonna give you a juice box instead of water? Like, silly, G-rated, silly stuff.
But from Masvidal's point of view, his main issue with Chael is the fact he's failed numerous drug tests throughout his career.
I mean, Chael's just, man, like, I'm bored, I ain't got nothing to do now. I would love to whoop his ass, you know? Plus, between me and you, we, you know, something I always respected about you, we both have the same stance, and it's like, if you're fucking doing steroids and shit, you're a fucking coward, you know? Because and he did a whole, I know now, he finally came out and did, yeah, I did steroids, what's the big deal? I mean, it's like, yeah, you and your fucking clan of juicers were doing steroids, but there's a lot of us that never fucking put anything in our bodies.
Most notably, his testosterone levels were over the official limit during his now Hall of Fame fight with Anderson Silva. He also failed another test during the Ultimate Fighter with Wanderlei Silva, where the Nevada State Athletic Commission found human growth hormone, EPO, and numerous other banned substances in his system. Now, there's no excuse for failing drug tests, but Sonnen was part of the mid-2000s in MMA, where performance-enhancing drugs were much more common. They'd both had a couple of pops at each other, but the back and forth seemed to die down. That was until 4 months later in February 2024, when Jorge said this.
And I would love to bust up Chael, but he would never get into the boxing ring with me. They've offered him all types of crazy money. All he could do is like video rants on his fucking cheesy channels, you know? But Chael would be one guy that I would love to break his eye over, just because he's such a cheating fuck. Like, if you take He's gotten caught with more substances in his body than any other competitor in the history. At one time, he had like 6 or 7 different substances in his body for one of his title fights. It's like, you're a fucking piece of shit human being. You could go out there and hurt somebody just for you to fucking make a paycheck, because when you're on steroids, as everybody knows, you become like a super soldier. So Chael would be somebody that I would love to fuck up, man. And I would just tell him, do all the steroids you want, it don't matter. I'm still gonna break your fucking eye orbital, bro.
It was seemingly out of the blue, and Chael took it as an actual threat, using his infamous line he once used against Wanderlei Silva.
But because I'm not a competitive fighter, I felt that I was threatened. Either way, policy will still be applied. I will not let him get close. I cannot trust George Masvidal. George Masvidal will be in Miami next week, where I will be. George Masvidal will be at a fight next week, where I will be. I mean, it sounds to me like we're starting to bring pieces together. George Masvidal tried to come at me and call me a fake gangster. I have more felonies than he does, which is jailhouse talk. I wouldn't expect any of you to be impressed by that, but it means he sleeps on the bottom bunk, and he will know what that means.
But while Sonnen didn't seem too worried by Masvidal's words, other people clearly did. Because in the days leading up to UFC 299 in Miami, Sonnen was taken to a safe, undisclosed location away from Masvidal.
Why, Chael, are you telling us that you are at a blank wall behind you with 2 security guards who will be staying all night when you're about to go to sleep because you're in Miami? What's it got to do with it? Well, I've been threatened by George Masvidal. I am at a separate location than everybody else with 2 security guards because I have been threatened by George Masvidal. Now, what do you think of that?
While that may seem like an unnecessary precaution, Masvidal does have a history of attacking those he's not fond of. Both Leon Edwards and Colby Covington can attest to that.
This exclusive video from Poppy Steak just into Local 10. This witness says you can see Covington leave the restaurant when he is ambushed.
I think he's hit by Jorge, and then looked like there were 5 of his buddies around him.
To make matters worse, Chael isn't the type to back down if someone comes his way either. He was hit with numerous battery charges after a fight broke out with him and numerous people at Las Vegas's Four Seasons Hotel back in 2021. And if a street fight between Masvidal and Sonnen was to go down, Chael backs himself to win it.
I mean, what happens if we cross the street and you see the one and only George Masvidal?
If I saw George Masvidal, he probably had 3-4 buddies with him. I'm alone. After a very brief skirmish, they would realize they should have brought more people. If you guys were to discuss this with me out of the room, you were aware I would whip George Masvidal. Like, you guys know someone Chael, he got a little old and I don't think he's on the same steroids. I am on the same steroids. I will whip his ass. There's a reason they weigh people in. I will whip his ass. There is not a long-haired man walking the planet that Chael P has to worry about. Keep that in mind.
And Chael isn't the only one who thinks that.
A street fight? Chael's 230, juiced up, very fucking strong.
Yeah, he's scary.
Gonna take down Jorge. So Jorge's gonna be fighting from his back.
Pulled up on him at a steakhouse, allegedly. Ba-ba-ba.
Or times a good knee, that's his option.
Oh.
But while a fight between 47-year-old Sonnen and 39-year-old Masvidal may seem incredibly unlikely, it actually may be a lot closer to happening than it seems. In fact, Chael claims a fight between the two is happening.
I got this thing coming up with George Masvidal. I mean, here, if we're just letting all the secrets out, I got this thing coming up with George Masvidal in October of this year. And that thing's been coming up ever since ESPN sequestered me in Miami at 299 to try to protect me from George Masvidal. Like, there was nothing that really hurt my ego more than me being the one that was being locked down, and I only share that with you as I've known this Masvidal thing was coming.
Although nothing is actually official between Sonnen and Masvidal, both men do have boxing matches on the horizon. Chael is reviving his old rivalry with Anderson Silva on June 15th, and for Masvidal, he's having a BMF rematch with Nate Diaz on July 6th. So considering both men are stepping into the boxing world, the stars could well align for the two to face each other next. After all, we've seen far stranger matchups in both MMA and boxing. And people might think that Sonnen would only accept an MMA fight with Masvidal, but if he's going toe-to-toe with Anderson Silva in the squared circle, he's clearly willing to box against people, even if he has a striking disadvantage on paper.
I don't understand. I understand where certain techniques do matter, where this could be really helpful, and where some of my strengths are. Like, I get all of that, but I wouldn't care more or less. My ego is on the line. We have a dispute, and we have a way we're going to resolve it. Whether I liked it or that's suitable or favors me or not, we have a dispute, and we're going to go resolve it.
For Chael, perhaps his matchup with Anderson is a bit of a litmus test. If he performs well enough, there's a very high likelihood he gets on the microphone and calls out Jorge Masvidal in vintage Chael Sonnen fashion. And that is something MMA fans around the world have dearly missed. So Chael Sonnen versus Jorge Masvidal might well happen, and it may go down sooner than we all think. And speaking of retired fighters that are entering exhibition matches against each other, UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov recently posted a picture of him training to his Instagram, following the rumors of owing up to $3 million to the Russian government over unpaid taxes. So check out my deep dive on how Khabib found himself in this position and his relationship with a Russian oligarch that kept him out of such problems.